What's up, guys? Cali Sunset Gaming with you again. We are on to our first episode of the FIFA 21 career mode with Chelsea. The career mode on FIFA 20 ended with us lifting the Europa League. Now we move on to FIFA 21 and we concentrate on not only trying to win the league, but also attain Champions League glory as well. I'm really excited for this series. What's going to happen this episode is we're just going to do a deep dive into the squad that we have and also look at our starting lineup and our subs as well as potential purchases that we could make too. I will not be going into the actual career mode because there will be a day one patch that is released on the 9th, which allows Edison Cavani to be added into the game, as well as all the transfers from deadline day to be added as well. So this episode is just going to be a deep dive and also the pre-season tournament, just so you guys get an understanding of the type of players that I'm going to be using and the formation that I'm going to be going with. No more messing around. I'm excited to start it. Let's get to it. I've become the manager of Chelsea. I've got my board objectives that have come through. We're not going to look at those now. They're going to be for the next episode because I know that they're randomized. So the ones that we have in this episode might not necessarily be the ones that we use in the actual career mode playthrough that we do in the next episode. First off, what I want to do is have a look at the team, the players, and the possible position. I know in this FIFA it's going to be really interesting in terms of being able to change where players actually are positioned, and I think that's going to help us a lot because the formation that I want to play in FIFA 20, I couldn't really implement the players into the style of play that I wanted successfully. Pulisic was a fantastic utility player, played as a secondary striker, also played in the centre attacking midfield role rather than just being used on the left wing and right wing. So hopefully in this playthrough we're going to be able to utilise him more successfully as a centre attacking midfielder. So let's have a look at the squad. So let's go through each and every player. One thing I do want to say is that to me, in this playthrough, I want to give everybody a blank slate. Let's ignore what's going on in real life. Any Chelsea fans that are watching this, you're probably not the biggest fan of Kepa. I'm not either, to be fair. I feel sorry for him more than anything else. But in this playthrough, everybody starts with a blank slate. Everyone gets the opportunity, okay? And that includes the players that are on the fringes in real life as well. So, Kepa in goal. He's obviously going to be our primary just because of the fact that he's rated 82. He is a good keeper on FIFA, and his ratings haven't dropped too much from FIFA 20. Got Jamal Blackman, he's out on loan. Willy Caballero, obviously a great keeper in real life, but I can't imagine that he's going to be a goalkeeper for Chelsea much longer after this contract expires in 12 months. Because we've got Mendy as well, I think that in this position I'll probably let Willy go. Don't think he's going to be needed that much, and then obviously we can work on getting Jamal Blackman's rating up, but then again he's 26, he's actually older than Kepa. That may be something that we have to look into at the future. Then again, 26 years old for a keeper is actually quite young, so it's something that we can keep in our minds. We don't necessarily need to buy a keeper, especially because of the business that Chelsea have done over the window. Keep in mind that obviously Willy may be gone, Jamal Blackman's 26, and then it's just basically a toss-up between Mendy and Kepa who would get that primary position. Moving on to our left back. So we've got Abdulrahman Baba, Emerson, Chilwell and Marcus Alonso. So 4 left backs. I don't believe we need that many. One of the things that I've noticed, because I had the opportunity to play FIFA 21 yesterday, played it for a large majority of the day, is that the larger your squad is, the more difficult it is to rotate on the training system. We may need to cut the team down a little bit, but that's what I need you guys for. I need you guys to decide who is playing well when we do get the career mode started and who isn't. And then as a result, we can sort of filter it between the starting 11, the subs bench, the reserves, and then the people that sit below that bracket that may not necessarily stay at Chelsea. Emerson and Chilwell are probably going to be the 2 left backs that I swap between. So the formation that I'm going to be using does utilise 4 defenders. So I'll go in a bit more detail just about that when we move on to the formation and the style of play that I'm going to be using. Chilwell and Emerson are probably going to be my 2 primaries. Marcus Alonso, he's good, but with his age, I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up the style of play that I'm expecting. Everything's sort of up in the air with the left backs at the minute. Obviously, Chilwell is going to be primary, but then I imagine it's probably just going to be a toss-up between Emerson and Alonso who takes that secondary spot. Moving on to the centre-backs. Now, the centre-backs, we have a huge pool to choose from. 2 of those guys out on loan, we've got Gehi and Ampadu. Both players have impressed me in real life. What I want to do is try and keep those players if I can. Same as FIFA 20, what I want to be doing is trying to maintain that sort of young core of the team and sort of build around that if I can. That's what Lampard started to do, bringing in a lot of new players that are young, barring Mendy and Thiago. So that's what I really want to try and maintain throughout the career mode as well. So keep that in mind. If there's any players that you think that we should purchase, try and remember that the core of the team needs to be young. We need to try and maintain that sort of youthful exuberance in the league, and hopefully that can attain us some silverware. Rudiger, probably one of my standout defenders from FIFA 20 in terms of overall performances, a player that I relied on quite a lot. Christensen as well had a fantastic season for me in the second season. The first was a bit more difficult. Kurt Zuma did not hit it, did he? Any of you guys that have watched my FIFA 20 career mode, Zuma, usually every single mistake that he made resulted in us conceding a goal. So he wasn't in my good books. I'll just put it that way. Like I said, FIFA 21, everyone starts with a blank slate, regardless of the performance in real life or the performance on FIFA 20. So I'm willing to give him another chance. I think there's more emphasis on this FIFA, from what I've played, on strong defenders, literally just shutting the ball out. Obviously, there's a lot of reliance on pace, as there was in FIFA 20, maybe even more so on this one. All the performances that I've played so far, with Zuma in the team that I've done off camera on my other career, he's played well. He's been really good. So my idea will be to keep him in the team. He can be one of the main defenders. Matt Miazga, a player that never really has had his opportunity at Chelsea. Moving on to these three remaining centre-backs, we've got Tomori, obviously fantastic player, great pace. Going to be utilising him as much as possible. He's a member of that young group of players that have been promoted through Chelsea's ranks, so I'm keen to use him. Sarr, the player that we purchased, for some reason hasn't got his portrait in the game, but has got a game face. What sense does that make? Absolutely none. But Sarr, sort of the same build as Zuma in terms of the fact that he relies a lot on his strength. He is quite nippy as well, so another player that we're going to be utilising. Thiago Silva, I think in real life, this purchase has been made just so that we have an increased level of experience within the squad. I will probably be using Thiago Silva. Will I extend his contract? That's something for you guys to decide. When we start playing, it's going to be one of those things where, like I said before, I'm going to need you guys to keep an eye out on the players and their overall performances throughout the course of a season. The good thing is, with this new career mode, is we've obviously got that visual sim, so we can also see how the players are performing minute to minute, rather than just getting the results at the end of the game like you did on FIFA 20 whenever you did a sim. Moving on to our right backs, obviously the primary, Reece James. Next, Dave. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to have Azpilicueta as a right back, because of the style of play that I want to be going for. With the midfield being so sort of centralised, I'm going to need a lot of my width to come from the wings, and that is the left back and the right back. Unfortunately, that means that we need a hell of a lot of pace, and we need somebody with a high defensive work rate, so they're always tracking back, just to make sure that we don't get caught on the counter. After this season, he may be in a position where he sort of slots into that centre-back role, but then obviously we've got other centre-backs playing. I realise that, but at the same time, Azpilicueta is the captain, so obviously he gets primary opportunity to play in those positions, depending on his overall performances, obviously, like I said before. Now, Zappacosta actually played all right. The rotation between him and Moses, once I sent James out on loan on the second season of my FIFA 20 career mode, he put in some decent performances, but again, he's at that age where he's just entering his prime, so I think he'd be a good utility player for that right-back position, but not necessarily a player that we rely on consistently. Looking at our centre defensive midfielders now, with the formation that I'm going to be going with, there's two holding players, and the players central midfielders rather than centre defensive midfielders. So Kante and Bakayoko can both slot into that position. Bakayoko is obviously really good. FIFA 20 played most of the games in his second season for me. So I'm probably going to be looking to rely on him again, just because of his presence in the midfield, nice and tall, so he goes up for that header, as well as being able to sort of snatch a ball off a player too. The final centre defensive midfielder we got is Chabala. Another player that's actually climbed through Chelsea's ranks, hasn't really got his break in real life. He's out on loan. On FIFA 20, he wasn't actually registered as a Chelsea player, which was a shame. he may be one of those players that we look to try and integrate. But like I said, it's a centre midfield role, not a centre defensive midfield role. So as a result, there's going to be a lot of competition for those positions and he might not get his chance. But obviously, if he does play and he does impress and you guys like him, then we'll try and integrate him into the squad a bit more. Out as a left midfielder, we've got Kennedy. Now, Kennedy only had a couple of games under myself when I was the manager on FIFA 20. This formation that I use does not utilise a left midfielder or a right midfielder. So as a result, there may not be any opportunity for him to play for us. Now into one of the busiest parts of our squad, the central midfield position. Billy Gilmer, obviously big fan of Billy. 5 appearances I think he made for me in FIFA 20. 2 goals. Both of those goals, absolute peaches. They've changed his face, but I'll be honest, it still doesn't look like him, does it, really? No, I don't agree either. Kovacic, sold him to Manchester City on FIFA 20, but like I said, clean slate, so I'll give him the opportunity in this one. His status is down as has that something special. You know, maybe he might be sort of bumped up in this FIFA in terms of his overall ability. Jorginho didn't really hit it for me. I think the problem with Jorginho is, in real life, there's a lot of emphasis on his passing. It's very much sort of Marmite with Chelsea fans. If you're a Chelsea fan, you're watching it, you may love him, you may hate him. And for anyone who isn't a Chelsea fan, if you watch his highlight reel, it's absolutely gorgeous. But watch him day in, day out. The reason that he's got such a high passing success rate is because he either passes to his side or he passes backwards. That's not going to cut it the way that I play on FIFA. We'll give him the opportunity again, but at the same time, he's not going to be one of the sort of definite starts for the squad. Next up, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Love him. Absolutely love him. Really strong, great in midfield. I believe him and Bakayoko as a pairing are absolutely amazing. They did so well on FIFA 20 for me. Marco van Ginkel next. Player that I sold quite early on in my FIFA 20 career mode, but I don't actually mind him. I think he's quite decent, to be fair. Danny Drinkwater. Look, let me just get something straight. Danny Drinkwater is a decent player. Okay, obviously he's won the Premier League. My honest belief is that Chelsea bought Danny Drinkwater to ensure that they could hit a quota for British players for the 2018-19 season, whichever season it was. I don't believe he was bought on the ability of his merit like Kante was. It was purely just down to the fact that they needed to hit a quota. Look, he's nodding. He agrees with me. Now moving on to the remaining central midfielders, Lewis Baker and Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley is, I tell you what, in real life, I've grown to love him. I think he's a great player. I was actually really frustrated when Chelsea loaned him out to Aston Villa. I think he's good enough to be playing for us week in, week out, and he just really hasn't got the opportunity. I don't know whether that's through injuries or just because he doesn't sort of suit Lampard's style of play, but he is one of the most aggressive midfielders that I believe Chelsea currently have. Every time he gets a ball forward, constantly, and I love that. We will definitely be taking Barkley back. I sold him on FIFA 20 just to try and make room for other players like Ødegaard. I want to stick with him. I want to persevere in this one, see how he performs. And then Lewis Baker. Lewis Baker, where to start with this lad? Good utility player, so he can play central midfield and central attacking midfield. We'll give him the opportunity again. We'll give him another opportunity in this one, unless you guys feel as if his performance in FIFA 20 just wasn't good enough. Moving on to our central attacking midfielders. So our formation, which I'll go into a little bit more detail about, actually provides 3 central attacking midfield positions. So Ziyech, obviously the new purchase, really excited to use him. Any opportunity that I have used him on my other career mode that I've been doing off camera, fantastic to play with. Brilliant at crossing the ball. Obviously heading has been improved on this, and that was one of the main forms of attack that I used in FIFA 19 and FIFA 18. So FIFA 20 I couldn't really utilise it, which was a bit upsetting, but in this one it's improved massively, and I think he is going to get a lot of assists for providing those pinpoint crosses that he does in real life. Isaiah Brown, big fan of him, so we'll obviously try and utilise him in that midfield position as well. He's currently on loan, so when he gets back, we'll see. Mason Mount, one of the boys. Obviously, he's probably going to be one of our starting players. He's a player that I love watching him play football, and he did really well for me on FIFA 20. Conor Gallagher, in real life, a player that's slowly climbing the ranks at Chelsea, wasn't actually included in the FIFA 20 save that I did because he wasn't classed as a Chelsea player at that time. With him being back in the squad, 20 years of age, rated 70. I'm hoping that I can, when he returns from loan, I can sort of integrate him into the squad, see how he performs. Kai Havertz, another purchase that Chelsea have made in real life. Again, he's probably going to be one of the starters alongside Mason Mount. Victor Moses as a right wing back in FIFA 20, if you did watch that, he just rotated with Zappacosta after I sent Reece James out on loan. Pulisic, one of the first players that we're actually going to be changing the position of. So on this, he plays as left wing, right wing or left mid. That said, I'm going to be utilising him as a central attacking midfielder. Obviously, played up front for me, played in central attacking midfield, played left wing, right mid, right mid. That's where I want him to play. That's where I think he's his most creative. Callum Hudson-Odoi, another player that we're going to be changing to central attacking midfield as well. Lucas Payson, a player that's bounced back and forth between Chelsea and out on loan consistently most of his career. When he returns, we'll give him the opportunity. What I have noticed about Payson is that his stats have consistently dropped for the past couple of years. Obviously, not impressed when he's been out on loan. But we'll give him that opportunity, see how he does. Olivier Giroud as our striker. With heading being improved on this game, we are going to see how he performs this season. Just give him that opportunity to impress. And then from there, when we get down to the 6-month mark, we may look at extending his contract. I'll be relying on you guys to let me know what you think. Tammy Abraham, very much a part of this Chelsea squad. In my eyes, will eventually be the primary striker. I worked for it a lot in FIFA 20. Wasn't as reliable as I would hope that he'd have been. But blank slate. All right, we go again. Give him the opportunity on FIFA 21 just to see if he's capable of sort of maintaining that role. It's going to be good competition between Olivier Giroud, Abraham and Timo Werner. And I think that's a really good mixture of players to rotate with as well. Next up, so excited about Timo Werner signing for Chelsea in real life. Hasn't got going yet. I know he's just going to be sick on FIFA. I just know he's going to be sick. He's probably going to be our starting striker, just because I know that I can rely on him for goals. He's going to be the first name on the team sheet in terms of strikers, and then it's just going to be down to Tammy and Olivier Giroud to try and work their way into that as well. Michy Batshuayi, Batman. Sold him on FIFA 20, but I'm going to give him the opportunity on this one. He's going to be a good utility player. His squad rolls down as sporadic, so obviously he's not going to complain too much about not playing. See if we can sort of utilise him as much as possible just to sort of rotate. If Olivier Giroud doesn't do too well and he ends up getting sold, then as a result, at least we've still got 3 strikers that we can choose from. Okay, so quickly onto the formation. We're going to be going with a 4-5-1, but the midfield 5 is going to be quite narrow. 2 central midfielders with a left wing back and a right wing back providing wide support. And then, like I said before, 3 central attacking midfielders. Lots of attacking options, but we're going to have to rely on the left wing back and the right wing back to provide additional attacking support as well as defensive support. One of the central midfielders will be dropping between defenders, so we at least always have a back 3. This is a formation that I've been playing with a lot on this FIFA. Obviously, I introduced it on FIFA 20 as well. One of the formations that I'm confident with. So this is the one that we're going to be going with for the career mode. Make sure that you keep this in mind, because obviously any sort of additional players that you guys do want me to purchase, we are going to be having to make sure that they do fit into that role as much as possible. So we'll give this visual sim a go. Let's see how the Chelsea team perform, just sort of using the formation that I've set out. And we'll just have a little chat about what we want to try and achieve for this career mode. So what I will say is that with this visual sim element that's been added, we are going to be in a position where the episodes may be a little bit longer. I'm going to leave that up to you guys in the comment section. Let me know if you're happy with the visual sim. What I'm going to be doing is just cutting to highlights during the visual sim and just giving you an overview of which players performed well and which players didn't. If you want me to move back to the quick sim like it was on FIFA 20 to keep the episodes shorter, then I can do. It's completely up to you guys how you want me to proceed. I don't mind. So the cool thing about this as well is that you can sort of cross over, look at the player ratings as they're adjusting through the game. Timo Werner scores 27 minutes into his debut. Big fan of that. So going on to the stat page as well, you can sort of see like a live representation of the amount of shots, chances, overall possession. It's just going to help us be able to sort of pinpoint where our weaknesses are a lot more effectively, I think.
Coming off the pitch,
Okay, so I've taken Kante off, put Kovacic on. Just see how this goes. Just an opportunity for players to sort of stretch their legs. The match fitness thing is going to be something that we need to pay close attention to. From what I've played, it doesn't make too much of a dramatic difference, but obviously what it does, it deducts the stats. So if they're not match fit, their stats won't be as high as what it reads. So for instance, Kante was at 0 match fitness. He's rated 88. But because he didn't have any match fitness at all, his ratings actually went down by 7. So as a result, he was only an 81 rated player, which wasn't the end of the world, but obviously, when it comes to really important games, you want the players performing to the best of their ability. So we need to concentrate on making sure that we attain a high match fitness. With the way that the Premier League and the way that FIFA fixtures go, roughly about 2 games a week if you're in a European competition as well, sometimes 3. We need to make sure that we've got a high level of rotation, but at the same time, we don't want too many players. From what I've found, if you have too many players in the squad, it's difficult to sort of rotate and make sure all of them get training. So it's something that we're going to have to juggle. You're probably going to have to stick with me a little bit while I try and get to grips with it. First game as Chelsea boss ends in a win. Timo Werner with a goal at the 27th minute. So like I said, this is not necessarily us starting the Chelsea career mode today. This is more of just a deep dive into the squad, just to get you guys thinking about who we can be using, who possibly needs to be sold. It's completely down to you guys. So make sure that you leave your comments in the comment section below to let me know. And if you're excited for this series as much as I am, make sure that you smash a like down below and hit that subscription button just to show your support, and the notification bell as well, so you get updates every time I release a brand new video. We'll end this episode with me playing a game as well, and then next week when we meet, we're going to skip the pre-season and we're just going to get straight on with the beginning of the career mode. As always, I will show you guys the lineups just before kickoff. Chelsea lineup like this. We've got Kepa in goal, Ben Chilwell as left wing back, Zuma and Silva as centre backs, with Reece James as right wing back. In the holding positions, we've got Jorginho and Kante. Going forward, central attacking midfielders, Pulisic, Mount and Havertz. Then up front by himself, Timo Werner. Strasbourg matching us in terms of formation. They've got Blazic and Kone as the centre-backs, Sissoko and Prisic as their centre midfielders, with Warris, Thomason and Bellegarde as central attacking midfielders. Up front, Mathiba. Straight away there, looking to get forward. Well played there. Zuma does well to stick a tackle in. Kante spotted Werner's run straight away, and he's going to beat his defender. Timo Werner in on goal. Wide of the post. That's what he brings. That pace. Oh my god, this is going to be sick. This is going to be sick. Timo Werner is one of those players that everybody is guilty of buying on the FIFA career mode just to dominate the league. And now I've got him. I haven't even had to buy him. Oh, Jorginho loses out. Mathiba stepping forward. Thiago Silva looking to cover. Loris with an overhead kick through to Kachi. Don't let him cut inside. Still taking me a bit of time to get used to the defending, you've probably noticed. Aniba. Has nowhere to go but back. Strasbourg look to work it again. Thiago Silva closes the door straight away. Havertz with the ball. Mason Mount, he's spotted Pulisic's run. And he's fast. He's one-on-one with the keeper. Keeper saves it. Wow. Great goalkeeping there. Kante intercepts. Really well done. He's given the ball to Timo Werner, who plays it to Mount. Quick 1-2. Pulisic in the box. Beats his man. Ball into the area. Too close to the keeper. Sells just gathers. Timo Werner plays a 1-2 with Mount. Mount spots Kai Havertz run. Kai Havertz in on goal. Kai Havertz. 1-0 Chelsea. I don't think he can do that in real life, to be completely honest with you, but starts doing breakdancing when he scores in a pre-season friendly. Finding that gap, Mason Mount. Watching Kai Havertz start a run. They've obviously tracked Timo Werner, not realising that we've got two central attacking midfielders that are going to be making diagonal runs into the box just to beat that offside trap. Mathiba looking to get forward. He's got Zuma on his shoulder. Forces him backwards. Sissoko to Blazic. Ball over the top. They like those lofted balls, don't they? Not a very high press from Strasbourg, so we can sort of play it in our own half and they're not going to press us. Long ball over the top. Timo Werner gets it under control. 2-0. This is going to be sick. This is going to be sick. Yes, I understand it's Strasbourg. This is nothing to sort of measure our season on. But my God. Come on. This is going to be exciting, isn't it? We've got it. We've got everybody. We don't really need to buy anyone. We've got all the talent. And before anyone says anything, I realise my beard's not that big in real life, but it's a game, all right? Let me live out my fantasy. So one of the things that I will say about the formation, obviously I've implemented tactics on there as well. If any of you guys want to see what I've done tactically, more specifically, I can do a separate video on that if you wish, because obviously I do the ones about other managers. If you guys want to see the one that I've used for myself, then I'm more than happy to show you guys. Just leave a comment in the comment section if that's what you want to see. There's not going to be a very high press. I'm very aware that a player's fitness on this game has a lot more emphasis than it did on FIFA 20. It's not as simple as just leaving them out for a game and then carrying on. What you need to do is sort of manage the team, micromanage each player a bit more in depth. So as a result, I don't believe I'm going to go for a high press. Just going to allow teams to play in their own half and only apply pressure when it moves into our half. As a result, what we can do is play more counter-attacking football as a result, I think. So defensively, we're going to look to drop back. Going forward, obviously, we're just going to be utilising our pace. Second half begins. We've brought Olivier Giroud on. We've also brought Hakim Ziyech on. So Pulisic and Timo Werner have gone off. Just give them the opportunity to get a run out. This episode, like I said before, it's more about not only explaining our ambitions for the season, but also just giving you guys the opportunity to see some of the players, so I can get your thoughts on it, really, how you want us to proceed. Long ball over the top. Chelsea do well to defend it. And now Chelsea go on the break. Ziyech looking to use his pace. Tackled by Kone. Long ball over the top. Thomason looking to gather, and he does. Intercept, and we go on the counter-attack. Looking to outnumber them. Ziyech using his pace once again. Sees a man at the far post. Not enough whip on it. Keeper gathers. Zuma and Thiago Silva linking up well there. Defensive duties. Mount. It's given the ball by Giroud. Kai Havertz takes it off Giroud. In on goal. For his second, it's a great save by the keeper. I've had a lot of luck in terms of going forward, always having support. Something that we didn't always have in FIFA 20. A lot of players sort of taking the time to get upfield, but it just seems that players are a lot more proactive on this one. There goes the full-time whistle. 2-0 win. 2 clean sheets for the opening games of the season, our pre-season friendlies. And there you have it. We've done the quick sim. We've done a game. So from here, just down to you guys to judge how we proceed in our season. So make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below. So guys, we'll leave it there for that episode. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Next week, we'll begin our full FIFA 21 career mode. If you did enjoy this content, make sure that you smash a like on it. And as always, I will see you guys next time on Cali Sunset Gaming.